Hey, what's up, guys? My name is Shiv. Welcome to my first video where we look at retargeting Mixamo animations onto Metahumans without that weird swirling, winding fingers. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, go to Google and search for Metahumans retarget fingers, and you'll have a bunch of results showing what is the issue that I'm going to address now. So let's get started. We'll start by creating a new Unreal project. The version I'm using here is 4.27. Some of you might be using 4.26 or earlier versions. This method most probably will also work with Unreal Engine 5.0, but the importing of metahumans from Bridge to Unreal Engine is not completely figured out yet, so it might be possible. I recommend you to use the Unreal Engine version 4.26 or 4.27. I'm going to use the third person template for this project, and I'm going to name this project as Retarget Machine. Once your project is up and running, we'll go to mixamo.com to download some animations. Depending on your earlier experience with mixamo.com, you might have to log in or create a new account to access the animations. From this website, we will download two animations, one animation with skin and one animation without skin. Both of these animation will be at 60 frames per second and no compression. Select the animations with evident hand movement so that you will know this method is working. Once you are done selecting, let's download the animations. Back in the Unreal project, we'll create three folders. The first folder we'll create is the folder named Mixamo. The second folder we'll create is the folder name man underscore retargets. And the third folder name we'll create is meta underscore retargets. The animations we download from Mixamo.com will go into the Mixamo folder. Once we retarget them to the mannequin, those retargets will go into the mannequin underscore retarget folder. Once we retarget those animations to the MetaHuman skeleton, those retarget animations will go into the meta underscore retargets folder. Drag and drop the downloaded animations into the Mixamo folder. Importing the animation we downloaded with skin will also import a skeleton. If you look at the skeleton, it's in a T pose. But if you have to go and look for the mannequin skeleton, it's generally not in a T pose. It's usually in an A pose. To fix this mismatch, we'll be using a T pose asset for the mannequin, which I have created using Mixamo.com, and you can also find a link to the pose asset in the description. While importing the pose asset into the project, you have to specify which skeleton it has to use. In this scenario, we'll be using the UE4 mannequin skeleton. As you can see, the asset we imported is a single frame animation. The thing you have to do with this is you have to right click it, click create pose, and select create pose asset. Rename this pose asset as per your liking. If you open the pose asset, you can notice that our mannequin is still in an A pose, but it's not an issue. If you increase the T pose curve slider up to 1, you can notice the mannequin is shifting from an A pose to the T pose. Now our pose asset is ready. Now we'll go to the retarget manager. On the bottom, we'll click on modify pose. In the modify pose, you can see our T pose asset is already available. Just click on the T pose asset and click import. Within the retarget manager, select humanoid rig. Then go to the skeleton tree tab, click on options, show retargeting options. Make sure, except for the root and pelvis, everything is set to skeleton. Going back to the Mixamo skeleton, we'll do the same thing. We'll go to options, retargeting options, and we'll make sure that except for hips and spine, everything else is set to skeleton. Once we are done with that, we'll select the humanoid rig as our primary rig. The first issue with Mixamo skeletons is there is no bone mapping with respect to Unreal Engine 4 mannequin rig. So we'll use auto map function, but don't expect any extraordinary results from it. It will do an auto map, but it's mostly messy and most of the times it's wrong. So we have to do a bone to bone mapping for all the bones for this mannequin skeleton. This is a tedious job, so I recommend all of you guys to follow me step by step while I'm doing this. Once the bone mapping is done, we can save the bone mapping file as a backup so that we can use that file later when we require or some other projects if migrated. We'll go ahead and save everything so that we'll not lose our work in an unexpected scenario. Now right click on the animation you want to retarget. Click on retarget animation assets, duplicate animation assets and retarget. In the left panel, select our mannequin skeleton, or on the bottom right, change the location to our mannequin underscore retargets folder. Then click retarget. As you can see, the retarget has failed with an error message. It's a pretty common error message when you're working with multiple skeletons and multiple meshes. So to fix this error, you have to go to the mannequin skeleton and also the Mixamo skeleton. For both of them in the preview settings, you have to click apply asset. And also in the animation tab, you have to press apply asset in the preview settings. Now our retargeting should work. Go to the retargeted animation and check whether the retargeting has worked properly. Check for leg orientations, face orientations, hand movement, so that there is no any issue with respect to the bone mapping we did earlier. This retargeted animation looks appropriate to me. Once again, we will save everything and we will move on to downloading the Metahuman. Depending on the speed of your internet connection, this might take a while. Once it is downloaded, we'll click export button. If the export was successful, it should have said it has successfully exported, but didn't say anything. That is because the bridge application is confused between which version of the Unreal Engine we are using and where is the plugin location and if the plugin is installed or not. So we have to verify those informations. Now the export has failed, but this time we got an error message. The problem with this is now it is exporting to Unreal Engine 4.26, but we are using Unreal Engine 4.27. To fix this, we'll change the export settings. It is still failing. What we'll do is we'll assign a default project, and within the default project, we'll go to where our project is located and select the content folder of the project, and also We'll give a quick restart to Pixel Bridge and Unreal Engine. This should probably fix the problem. Now the problem is fixed. It has exported successfully. Once the import process in the Unreal Engine is finished, we will enable the machine plugins and give a quick restart. Once it has restarted, we'll navigate to the Metahuman skeleton. In the skeleton tree tab, go to Options, Show Retargeting Options, and make sure that except for the root and the pelvis, everything is set to skeleton. Then go to Retargeting Manager and select the humanoid rig. In the bone mapping, select spine 1 for spine 1, for spine 2 select spine 3, for spine 3 select spine 5. Save. The metahuman skeleton appears to be an apose, but if you look closely, it's not an apose. It's very close though, but it's not an apose. If you go to the bottom, click on Modify Pose and try to look at the available pose assets for the mannequin skeleton, we'll see that there's a lot of options, but none of those are retargeting options. So we are looking for a pose which is coherent with the mannequin skeleton, but there appears to be no pose which resembles that. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and download the a pose from Metahuman sample project provided by Unreal Engine. The Metahuman sample project is available for free on Unreal Engine Marketplace. You can download it. Once the creation of the MetaHuman sample patch is finished, go to the location where you created the project and open the Metahuman sample project file. Once the project is open, search for retarget. You will end up with two results. The first one would be an animation asset, and the second one would be a pose asset. Then right click on the pose asset and click on show on folder view. Now go a level up and right click on the folder and click migrate. In the migration options, only select the folder you want to migrate and deselect everything else. In our case, the only folder we want to migrate is the mocap folder. Now select the content folder of the retarget machine project so that the mocap folder will migrate to our project. Once the migration is successfully done, go to the MetaHuman skeleton, click on the modify pose and search for retarget. But we are still not able to find the retarget that we have migrated from the other project. In the content browser, search for retarget. You'll find the retarget pose asset that we have migrated. Right click on the pose asset, click on show in folder view. In the folder view, double click on the animation asset. You have to reassign a new skeleton to the animation asset as it is used the old skeleton from the sample project, which is not available in our project. Click yes and select our MetaHuman skeleton. Delete the pose asset on the right and right click on the animation pose asset. Go to create, then create pose asset. This newly created pose asset should be available in the retarget manager. Yet again, there's another issue. The issue is in the Metahuman sample project, the pose asset uses a different skeletal mesh. To be perfectly clear, it uses a different preview mesh. So we have to use the same preview mesh so that this pose asset would work on our skeleton. In this scenario, the preview mesh used in the Metahuman sample project is average male normal weight. We will select this preview mesh from the preview settings tab on the right side. Once the correct preview mesh is selected, we will be able to apply the pose asset to our skeleton. You can see that the metahuman A pose and the mannequin A pose are quite different from each other, even though they look very similar. Save everything for good measure. Now we will go to our metahuman skeleton and reset its pose from a T pose to an A pose. Within the man underscore retargets folder, right click on the animation asset we want to retarget. Retarget animation assets, duplicate animation assets, and retarget. Select our metahuman skeleton. Change the retarget directory to meta underscore retargets and click retarget. You can now see we have successfully retargeted Mixamo animations onto metahumans without any weird fringing or weird hand warping or some sort of another issue. The only weird issue that bothers me here is the weird neck twisting. That is because Mixamo skeleton and also the mannequin skeleton are having only one neck bone. But for metahuman, it has two neck bones, so that weird twisting is happening. There's a solution for that. We can tackle that issue in a different video, perhaps. As of now, it looks nice. There is no weird finger wrapping or any fringing, so it looks appropriate. Now we have set up a retargeting machine which can successfully retarget maximum animations onto metahumans. We'll download another Mixamo animations and check how easy it is to do Mixamo retargeting onto metahuman, as now the setup is complete. Step 1, download the Mixamo animation and import into the Unreal project. Step 2, go to mannequin skeleton and set the pose to T pose. Step 3, retarget the Mixamo animation using the mannequin skeleton. Step 4, reset the mannequin skeleton pose. Step 5, retarget the animation in the mannequin skeleton folder using the Metahuman skeleton. Step 6, check the animation for any issues. There don't appear to be any issues here, so we have successfully retargeted Mixamo animations onto Metahuman. Thank you very much, guys. I hope this video has helped you. If you like the video, please like and subscribe.